my favorite songs are slow and sad. I don't know what's wrong with me.
Welcome to the Sad Song Queens podcast, where we dive deep into the songs that make us cry. I'm Laura Webb.
And I'm Lindsay Wolfington. Today, we will be talking with Kenneth Pattingale and Joey Ryan of the Milk Carton Kids about their song, I'll Go Home From Here.
Los Angeles-based singer-songwriters Kenneth Pattingale and Joey Ryan formed the Milk Carton Kids in 2011. The duo focuses on unity in their voices and in their instruments, which became the foundation of their career. The pair is not only 4-time Grammy nominated, but also hosts the Americana Music Association Festival at Nashville's Ryman Auditorium. They started their own Sad Song Summer Camp, helping songwriters dig deeper and darker through an intense workshopping process. This sounds right up our alley.
They also founded the Los Angeles Folk Festival, spotlighting musicians and comedians in the broader folk community. Through it all, they continued to expand on a simple idea that music can help turn down the volume on a chaotic world and make more room for what matters most. Their new album, Lost Cause, Lover Fool, embodies this idea, which is why we were drawn to it. We've chosen to talk about the song, I'll Go Home From Here, and look forward to diving in.
So grab those tissues and let's get into it, because we all need a good cry.
And now, I'll Go Home From Here by the Milk Carton Kids.
Say it's about the folks you know. The walls come down as time moves slow. She left us all and she left in peace. This home ain't much a place to miss. I'll go home from go home from here. Silent now, I'm a simple man. I hang my hair on what I can. Overrun and overrun. There ain't a fight I haven't fought. I'll go home from here. I'll go home from tell you love, this is all I've got, I'm capable of. I'm your follow car in the pouring rain, and I'm alright when you say my name. I'll go home from here. I'll go go home.
Welcome, Kenneth and Joey. So happy
Thank
to have
you.
you.
Thank you.
Great to be here.
Oh, that was so lovely. Has anyone else ever forced you to listen to your own recordings?
No, not in this setting, which is amazing.
Yeah, you have nice speakers in here. That was fun.
That's
Yay.
probably like the most produced song on the album, I think. And it's also to me our entire career feels like it's sort of a mystery unraveling,
Uh-huh.
which maybe is what life feels like too. But that one has all the ingredients of like I think furthest away and densest, and so it feels like maybe the biggest mystery on the album.
So you feel like it's a departure from what you've done?
Well, but no, both things. I don't want to spoil any
No,
of the
no, go
stuff,
No,
so I
it's
don't want to
okay.
give too much
Yeah.
information. But I wrote that song before we met, or before we were the Milk Carton Kids. That was like
Definitely before we were the Milk Carton Kids. I don't remember if that was one you had sitting around or if that was one that you wrote when we were like starting to write songs.
I think it was
Oh.
one before, but so like up until
There's a couple of songs we have like that are like something that's been percolating for 15 or 20 years.
wow.
And
Wow.
like we've recorded it before.
Uh-huh.
But didn't
and-
like it enough to put it on an
yeah,
album?
Yeah,
well, actually, we put it in a movie.
that's true. We did put it
many
in a
years
movie.
ago, but I think it changed a lot since that.
But we didn't put it on it. We never
never an album.
put it on an album or
Never played it live.
never
What
played it.
movie was it in?
Oh,
Refuge.
Refuge, yes. Independent movie we scored in
Mhm.
2011 or something.
Starring
Huh.
Kristen Ritter.
I
Name
feel
from the
rude
past.
that I won't remember the writer
Jessica.
director's name. Oh yeah, Jessica.
This is why there are
That's
two of you. This is
This
like
is-
this
it's
is
good.
kind of like
Yeah.
Yeah.
looking in the mirror. It's like, oh, they finish each other's
I know.
sentences. Like, understand
Together
that.
we can like remember things.
Yes.
yeah, exactly.
You get the first name, I'll get
I know.
the
I
last
said that
name.
we have to like retire in the same place because like
Mm,
sometimes you'll only know what I mean and nobody else will be like, what?
love
And sometimes
that.
it's like that guy, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah,
Like, you
yeah.
don't even have to get the name.
Yeah.
You're
It's
like, oh,
that
yeah.
guy.
Yeah. Remember? Yeah.
But so this one not I joked at the beginning of our conversation that Joey's a path of least resistance kind of guy. But I think we actually have learned over a decade and a half, specifically with our like artistic
Sure.
commingling, that our nature is to like fight the path of least resistance when actually that's the sweet spot was kind of delivered to
Mhm.
us.
Mm.
And the more that we can submit to that,
Mm-hmm.
maybe the better off we're going to be. And so this is in the tradition of many things where
Right.
we're like, how do we finish this? And we go, well, what about that thing that we've like been kicking around for quite literally
Right.
decades? And then this was weird. This recording, the bulk of it was made for the last record, or the
Oh.
core of it. There's a studio right near here, run by a friend of ours named Chris Rondinella, called Heritage, and that's when I moved back to LA a few years ago. We rented his room for a few months to make I Only See the Moon. This recording was on the cutting room floor of that record. And so
Oh.
as this came around, again, there was like, I don't know, it could be path of least resistance or it just could be laziness that we didn't want to write something. I think it was mostly that specifically in Joey's banjo part, there's a thing that he like performed that day that had something that we hadn't heard him play again on the banjo. Like there was a
Mhm.
feeling that was captured and it was already in the recording. I think you suggested to me or maybe I listened to it and thought this has something, and he thought, why don't you try to make it something rather than us
Yeah.
learning it and recapitulating it again. So then it took on all this other stuff, all like the slide guitar and the drums and the bass was then 3 years later when we were putting this
Sound
record
together.
together,
Oh, wow.
and all of those colors more matched, I think, the palette that we were using on this record. And so it's just sort of this funny thing that like kept
Right. Well, you couldn't
poking
let it
its head
go,
out.
clearly,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah,
So
I
there
think
was like
there's like
yeah.
a beautiful thing that has happened a few times in our career where like there's an idea that just sticks around
Mhm.
for a long time, and it's happened with at least two others of your songs that I can think of, including Monterey,
Mhm,
which we ended up naming a whole album after. But that was a song that you had before we met,
mhm.
and we tried to play it right when we met, and it was no good and wasn't working. And then like I guess the way I would describe it is like I feel like sometimes we as a duo have like grown into certain songs or
Yeah.
ideas and kind of figured out how to wear them and make them fit for ourselves.
Yeah.
One thing about Kenneth is he's a digital hoarder, so it's
Mhm.
great because every idea we've ever had is well organized and labeled in the computer or on different hard drives. And so part of our process for making new stuff can be going back to old stuff and
Sure.
seeing like what have we forgotten about from 1 or 5 or 10 or getting up to 20, close to 15, 20 years now, that might have been something that we couldn't wear confidently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've changed so much over the years that now, we play different I think Kenneth has grown as as a musician on all types of different instruments. I've started playing a new instrument with the banjo, which I think is, like Kenneth said, one of the reasons why this song eventually worked.
Mm.
And then we're our own ideas a little differently in the future.
I think that's so cool. I
Yeah.
love that we've actually picked the old D in some ways, right?
Yeah.
And that
The old
idea.
journal entry or
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is like that.
Well, yeah, so then that's interesting. Well, I want to ask you after we give you our theories, then like what it was when you first wrote it to what it means now. Cause like obviously with years, it can take on new context. But I think that I mean, about the who she left in peace, perhaps it's your mom, who passed. And I didn't know who wrote, so I was, I guess, now knowing. And that the home is like you were raised in. It was a home filled with like happy memories, or it's like a humble home, but that's where you come from. That's where your roots are and everything. The hanging on your hat on what you can overrun and overwrought makes me think it's perhaps been a hard road and you're trying to stay a simple man and be content with like the things in your life and just trying to find peace with that. The I'll go home from here, I actually have like, even listening today, I was like, oh, that could mean this, right? But yeah, I'm thrown on the I'll go home from here.
I've done my job.
Yeah,
Good.
I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then in the second
Riddled.
verse, it feels like you're maybe talking to someone else. So yeah, I'm not quite sure.
All
Yeah.
right, and then
Yeah.
I kind
Yeah.
of looked as the whole thing is kind of the many meanings of home. They say it's about the folks you know, but walls come down as time moves slow. Like home is not necessarily a place; it can be the people you're around. She left us all, and she left in peace. Felt like someone passed away, and then this home ain't much a place to miss. I just took as like without the people who made it a home, it's just a physical place you're literally missing. And I took the second verse as kind of maybe the person who passed husband, like moving on without them, just becoming quiet, overrun and overwrought. There ain't a fight I haven't fought. And that maybe the I'll go home from here is that it's time to go home, meaning heaven. And then I returned again to the idea of home being a person or a feeling with the lyrics like, I'm your follow car. I'm all right when you say my name. That's what home feels like to me. I actually also, with the follow car, I have an image of like someone being mad and wanting to like get out and walk, but like I'll follow you anyway. Or someone drank a
That's
little bit too
cool.
much and then you're their follow car home. But
Ooh.
either way, I was like, wait, was that a scene in The Notebook or something? Anyway, so
That's so funny.
Oh, the
And
rainy
I'm
scene.
like into Formula One, the Drive to Survive, and I was like, follow car, I know about it. Which then I was like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm sure that's not what you
It
meant.
is a
But
F1 reference. isn't
yeah,
it?
right? I know. And then that took me out of it, and I was like,
Vintage
stop it, Laura,
F1.
stop trying to
the
pull
Milk
that
Carton
in.
Kids
Yeah.
sponsored by F1.
That's
Yeah,
so cool.
let's do
Hey,
it.
yeah.
Are you gonna give your theories?
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Well, so we discovered
Sure.
that Kenneth wrote the song, so
Yeah.
Joey also may not know what
Yeah.
it's really about.
I definitely don't know what it's about. Because Kenneth wrote it, and we never tell each other
Oh, you don't?
what we're like intended by
Oh.
either any of our songs. I also would have a hard time saying what some of the songs that I did write are about. I also like, if I'm honest, to me, like, how many people are there in the world?
Yeah.
8
a lot.
billion? 8 billion perspectives that are interesting on what this song is about. And the only person who's not interesting to me is actually the songwriter.
Well, damn, cancel the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I'm like,
No,
okay.
like
Yeah.
I loved hearing.
All right, bye, guys.
I
It's
loved
been a good
hearing.
one.
I loved hearing what you both were getting from it, and I'm gonna give you everything I got in terms of what I'm getting from it.
Well, I actually
lo-
love. You don't have to cancel the podcast because I feel like the structure that you set up sort of proves that point, which is
Right.
you
Yeah.
saying it before.
As long as you go first.
Yeah, as long as you go first, then the
Yeah.
conversation's fundamentally changed.
But I was with my friend Amber Rubarth, who you guys
Oh,
might
yeah.
know, just a couple days ago, and she was telling me, I'll forget now. It was a book on creativity that she was reading. The author said that as soon as you release a piece of art into the world, everyone that experiences it or participates with it or receives it becomes the artist at that point.
Mm.
And I feel it's especially true with songs which don't literally don't exist in any physical sense. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, the sound waves exist if you're like playing the song in that moment, but even then, they're different every time in every room.
Mhm.
And they don't really exist in any meaningful way until they are like hit your eardrum and then are processed by each unique brain and person and consciousness that receives them.
Mhm.
And we do as much to the song as the artist did. So, I mean, everything that you both said about the song is as much like part of the creative process to me as having made the song. I don't know if all that sounds also
No, we
No.
pretentious
totally get it.
Yeah.
and avoidant.
No, not
Um,
at all.
By the way,
but it's also
every person says a little bit of this.
I
Like
know.
they're
Yeah.
worried about,
Putting it out
infringing
there.
on other people's meaning of the song. But
Yeah.
inherently, it never does.
No.
You don't think so? Oh, I
Yeah.
definitely have songs that I've loved my whole life, and then I
Oh.
hear Graham Nash talk
Okay.
about the room that he was sitting in with Joni when he wrote it, and
On
I'm
Song
like, "God, this
Exploder?
is
I listened to
fucking
that episode.
ruining it for me."
Wait, but ruin?
Uh, not ruin, but diminishing.
Oh.
Okay.
And sorry to pick on
No.
him because he's, one of my
Amazing.
all-time
Sure.
Right.
favorites. But yeah, I have experiences like that where you find out at some point what was in that person's mind or
Right.
where they were, and it like shrinks it in some way.
Okay.
For me, I
Yeah.
don't know, but
Yeah.
Well, and it
Yeah.
probably is like song dependent. Like maybe if it wasn't,
Sure.
maybe if you weren't attached to that song, it wouldn't
Sure.
bother you as much. Because I get, it's a
Yeah.
little bit like Don't Meet Your Heroes, right?
Right.
Like,
can be.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
what if they say something that's
But
not
I
very
feel
nice?
like
or-
I mean, we love hearing what was going on, where the genesis came from. With our day job as supervisors, we get to hear some of this, we get to go to showcases and stuff. And so I always just think it colors it because I still take my meaning from it, and what it feels.
Well, and
your
that's so cool. Like, because
contextual.
as
Yeah.
music supervisor specifically, you get to literally create whole new sets of meaning around these
Right.
songs.
Right.
Like Lindsay, we can tell the listeners,
Yes.
is the first person that ever really like licensed one of my songs and put it in a scene that people cared about on One Tree
It
Hill.
was a big moment.
It was a proposal.
Yeah, well, but it was the reveal that he was going to propose. The
Yeah.
ring like falls to the floor.
Right.
At the
So
end of the
for like
song, yeah.
some number of many people, that song is tied to that scene and those characters and their
Yes.
feelings about those characters, which had nothing to do with the song actually as it was written,
Right.
because it
Yeah.
had been written years earlier.
Right.
But like you, in a meaningful way, both of you participate in creating like meaning, not just for yourselves, but for like vast swaths of other people,
Yeah.
like creating meaning around these songs. Okay, so
I
what do I
appreciate
think
you
that song?
saying that,
What do I
'cause-
Yeah.
think?
What do you
Yeah.
think? Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, so I think I also know Kenneth enough to know that like
Right.
probably the emotional picture is more important than a narrative
Okay.
goal
Mm-hmm.
or whatever. And so I think like what I get from it, yeah, a sense of like generally like being unmoored from a place of belonging and a sense of like kind of safety and that like deep spiritual comfort that we derive from home in
Mhm.
like a sometimes a physical sense, but probably in this song emphasizing like the relationship sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so just like a real longing and yearning for that sense of place and connection that and the shortcut for that is home.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. How did all three of us do?
Great.
Yeah.
I'm learning what the song's about.
Yeah.
I mean it seriously.
That's funny.
I'm a devotee of the Tom Waits School of Songwriting,
Uh-huh.
which primarily like requires there to be some weather in the room and some food to feed it. Outside of that, also, it wasn't until I met Joey that it really put into perspective that after an entire lifetime in music, I didn't realize that I was abnormal in that when I hear songs, I don't hear words at all.
Really?
Oh, you're
That's
you're
true.
a real music person. Like when
Yeah.
people say like, are you a lyric or a music person?
There's songs I've listened to 10,000 times that I haven't actually fully heard the words. If you asked me to recite them, I couldn't tell you.
Mhm.
Half of the songs that we sing on stage, I don't know the words to. If
Oh,
he's
wow.
not singing harmony, I don't. Like if he lost his voice and the show had to go on, it would not. I can't get through the
Oh,
words.
wow.
Oh.
Do you need a teleprompter?
I have requested a teleprompter at various, definitely if we're
Well, no,
doing an
Matt
event.
Berninger has
Yeah,
lyrics
because they
on
have so
stage in
many.
front of
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
They have so many. Yeah.
All of that to say, my life is presently changing, and I'm trying to retrain some muscles because there's a whole other side of music that I haven't accessed. I mean, not that I haven't. I'm
Yeah.
very proud of a lot of the songs
Yeah, of
I've written,
course.
Yeah, but
specifically
and
on a
also you
lyrical
shouldn't
level.
be too absolutist about that self-description because the first song that I ever heard of yours when I saw
Fair.
you play it is specific. It's called "Memoirs of an Owned Dog," and it's specifically a lyric-driven
Yeah.
song that's written from the perspective of a dog who has just been hit by a mail truck and writes his last memoirs to his
Oh my gosh.
beloved
How did we not hit
Although
human.
that?
that
We
one
didn't.
I know.
I'm like that.
Yeah, that's a real
that
we'd
one
run out of
also
I
tissues
know.
with
Yeah.
that guy.
that is our
But so
saddest
you
song. My
Is
wife
it?
has forbidden me from playing it
Yeah.
on
Oh.
stage.
But so you do have
Oh.
a number of songs that are, like, very specifically,
Yeah,
like,
although that one
narrative
files in my
driven.
mind as an exception because the first line, "The food was as I like it, cold and wet and in that wonderful tin can shape," I nicked from a friend. He had drawn like a cartoon,
Mhm.
and that was the caption, like a political
Yeah.
Oh, so
cartoon
that
style,
was
like
the
a
start
single
of the
cell.
song.
Uh-huh.
And so he said that, and I said, "There's an entire song in there. I can pull
Yeah.
that and stretch it out." And so the entire thing's there. Whereas, like, really, truly songwriting of mine from the beginning of when I've ever tried it has been a complete question mark and a mystery. And when I get
Oh.
to the end of it, I don't know what it is.
Okay.
And
Mm.
it's been interesting because as I've gotten older, there's songs that have come in that we've performed hundreds of times
Mhm.
that the meaning has finally arrived and will be on stage playing, and I think, holy shit, this was like I did write with some clarity. I just didn't have the vessel to receive it or the experience
Yeah.
to receive it yet. It also fits into a very strong opinion of mine, not original, that like time as we know it is completely pointless and not real. All of these things that exist and all of these feelings that we're talking about, specifically music as being one of the most magical forces that we come
Mhm.
in contact with, both on a like a traditional level and on a real creative level. Like it's
Mhm.
you know how in science fiction they wrote about time travel
Mhm.
and all of the
When was that?
hypotheses around it, all the way right.
I think it was
There it is.
1893.
Mm,
Exactly.
give or take.
People seem to not realize that we have time travel. If you drop a needle on a Nat King Cole record, like
Mm.
it
Oh, that's
wouldn't
a great
matter if
point.
you were in the room, you wouldn't have had a richer experience there. Where actually it's the same thing as being like Star Trek shot to a different time and place. Like we have it. You can drop the needle on it. We've assembled it now into a device we can carry with us at all times. We could
Mhm.
literally live in a different time and place 24/7 if we wanted. Like the science fiction they wrote about is here. All of this, I mean to say, for me, it's actually been a pretty psychedelic experience of writing up until this last album where I wrote words with a lot more intention, just
Mhm.
connected to my emotional intention.
Mhm.
But again, for the purpose of this conversation, this one's so interesting because must be 17 years ago now. And Joey sort of got it, well, you all got it right on the head, which is that every interpretation is correct. I had nothing specific in mind as I wrote it.
Nothing had happened in your life
No,
going into writing this
nothing
song.
nothing that happens in that song has anything to do with, like, this body or this world
Okay.
for sure. Pure imagination.
Okay.
But it's definitely trying to like, the feeling of what?
I
That's
know.
such a funny way of saying
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with this body or this world.
I'm like, where do
Maybe
we go
this
from
world.
You mean
there?
it's
Maybe
not
this world.
autobiographical, right?
Yeah.
That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I thought I was picking up some Saturn vibes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Oh my
I
God.
yeah.
But it also is also funny. So when I learned that I don't hear words, we learned that Joey only hears
Oh,
words.
and this is why you guys are the duo.
Mhm.
Right.
Okay.
This is
Okay.
why we're the duo, because and also not at the not at the cost of his music. That like his
Yeah.
musical sense is very evolved and important and evocative and useful, but he doesn't care that much. That's not what when he's writing a song and he comes in and we've learned the shorthand is great because now he lots of times just sort of saves that for later because he knows when he shows it to me I'm going to change all the chords anyway and I'm going to be like, when you sing that, if we change it to this chord
Mhm.
it's going to bring out this part of the feeling and so like I'm going to do that sort of, I'm going to impose myself on his process that way anyway. And I feel like over our partnership, I seen that he knows that that's going to happen and leave space for it. But it's also taking advantage of what is going on up there for him, and so a lot balances out. And so for me, really, the entire thing is there's something about whenever the phrase "I'll go home from here" popped out that feels like it carries something that's larger than words or the music. Well, I don't have any kind of like formal synesthesia, but every time I've learned about that, it's become a useful concept for me to understand where like when a phrase falls out or the way that it matches a chord change or the timbre of like an instrument played, like there's something else in there. There's like a spirit in that, or there's a feeling in that, or there's a color in that. There's meaning in it. And so there's the only thing I remember specifically about this song is that just kept hammering it's like me over the head. This is a feeling. And so the other way that I'll often write, like that dog song, is that if there's some kind of thing that feels truthful, I've spent a lifetime of like teasing that out and then trying not to second guess myself if it doesn't make any sense. The last year or two, I've tried to be more conscious of that because I feel like it's a fun little challenge. If I can resist that a little bit, then there's an opportunity to make it better or just make it sharper. And so that's been interesting as of late, but definitely not back then when I was 28 and, we had the whole road laid out in front of
Right.
us.
Are you both lyric people?
Yeah.
I'm both, but
Yeah.
you wrote these lyrics.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Just checking if
Yeah.
Joey came in and did the but
I
literally I have
have
written here,
some-
what are these chords?
Oh, yeah.
Because whenever we talk about Sad Song, I'm like, the chords, it got me. The blah, blah. So, but like I feel like the second I heard this song, I was like, oh yeah, like this is my jam. Like this is the type of sad song I like. So actually, can you tell me what the
Well, I
chords are?
mean, it
Because I
does
bet
have-
every song I love.
It
are
does
these.
have the 4156 blueprint of like any
Okay.
song that will pull
Right.
that
Okay.
feel out of
Okay.
you
Yeah.
for sure.
So what is
4156.
No,
Rob,
six.
are you like I
Six,
know?
four,
I know.
one,
Is
five.
Rob's like
It's a
I know.
6415.
614.
So it starts on
Six
the
in the
I
minor.
minor,
Right.
and then, well, if you put them in Leonard Cohen terms,
The minor fall.
Yeah.
yeah,
the
it
minor
starts with the
chord.
minor
Oh my
fall,
God.
and then back up to the tonic, and then it lifts up to the glorious 4 chord and resolves down to the 5.
Oh.
Like simple shorthand tools for songwriting for sure.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder what instrument I wrote it on. I'm sure
It's
that
a little the one thing is that musically, if we're getting into, I think
Yeah.
one of the things that the music does for the emotion, it's a little uneven, kind of by design and in performance. In other words, like the chords don't all happen for the same number of beats all the time. Like
yeah.
it's I don't know if it's actually crooked, if there's like
Yeah, when we
partial
relearned it to
measures and
play
stuff.
recently,
Yeah.
we had to it was like writing a message in Morse code. It's like, how long do we wait after the first thing? Is it long or is it short or is it
Right.
medium? And then we kept messing it up.
Yeah, so like following the phrasing of the lyrics kind of dictated the not exactly the meter, but like how like the measured like the bar lengths. And I think there's a few partial measures in there. We've never actually mapped it out or counted it out. It's kind of just by feel at this point. But it was all dictated by the phrasing of the lyrics. And so it feels a little. I keep going back to that word unmoored or unsettled. Like it's a little unresolved. It remains unresolved for a lot of it, which is also one of my favorite sort of emotional states to be in with music. Is that prolonged sense of unresolution as super
And that feels like
seductive to me.
life too, right? Like we never have like, oh, that's
Right.
it. I
Right.
figured it all out. Everything's sorted. We're good.
Right.
Yeah. I'll go
I
home.
should be more polite, which is that I could tell you more about what that means to me, that concept and that idea, because you're not wrong about it being a death and a return to something. You're not wrong about a nostalgia for an actual home in this time and place, but that the like the overarching feeling that is held in that little nugget for me is a moment of action or realization, or a moment where you're deciding like it's done and I'm returning to
Mhm.
whatever it is.
Mm.
And I definitely think that as a 28-year-old, when I was writing that, if I hadn't experienced that yet profoundly, maybe that was creative on my part, and I was writing it more from the part of the story where the person is going off on their journey,
Yeah.
Mm.
which will, I think, as I imagined, ultimately end at a point which is both nostalgic, but also maybe a little bit of failure. It's also a little bit of triumph, like in accepting what is.
Right.
I don't like that person then would not have resonated with it. Me as a mid 40s after experienced 17 years of life between then, I've experienced enough life's more challenging things to understand that
Right.
like I was writing
Right.
from a place of some kind of like inherent truth, or the idea really resonates with my personality or my worldview or what that feeling is. And
Mhm.
so I think the song, if it were to be like like a test question answer, is
Mhm.
definitely like the 28-year-old me's like conjecture on what
Right.
arriving at that moment is like time and time again,
Mhm.
and that I was following just my instinct of what that felt like artistically or
So
energetically.
kind of
Yeah.
anticipatory grief or something?
Yeah.
Like,
Was it?
had your mom passed? Is it about or
No, mom's still here, but
Oh, but you're
the
just
funniest one on that front
Yeah.
is track 2 on this record, a song called "My Place Amongst the Stones."
Yeah.
I sent.
Yeah.
I guess she was the only person I sent the like preview link of our album to. Like they,
Mhm.
mom and dad really wanted to hear
Mhm.
it and play it for all their friends over in Eagle Rock. So
Oh.
one day she walked in the room, and I don't remember the exact comment. I think it was, "Don't worry, you haven't forsaken all my love." And the subtext was that she had
Mm.
decided, full stop, that track 2 on the Milk Carton Kids record is written about her and for her, which it is not in any way, shape, or form. No,
Yeah.
I only bring it up because it was a completely misinterpreted like lyric intention from my mom. And
Or is it, Kenneth?
well,
Yeah.
this is what I
Yeah.
mean, is that then I was forced to sort of reckon with that song over the last few months in the context of like, oh, well, did I write it about my mom? Is
Okay,
that what
let's
Yeah.
that
give the
line
opening
is?
couplet. Let's give the opening couplet. In fairness to your dear mother,
Yeah,
I was rich on the day that I was born. I had the love of a mother. I had a home. I
yeah.
was
Yeah.
rich on the day that I was born. So you could forgive the woman for thinking that maybe she had.
Absolutely.
Nothing
Yeah.
to do with it.
Yeah.
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 I never thought of your mother as we've been
Well,
playing
and
that
as
song
me
either.
and my wife joke at the
Yeah.
anytime it comes up, is she's definitely not wrong.
Yeah.
But
Right.
also when I
Because
wrote it,
nobody's wrong, are they?
yeah,
You can't be wrong.
I think to your point at the beginning, the whole thing is we're trying to do this like sacred magical thing
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
that's just trying to get the thing in the air and have it connect.
Right.
You guys do that in a form, like with a different formality,
Mhm.
which has like really cool conclusions, and the worlds that it builds and the meanings that it builds actually then connects people in even a
Mhm.
greater way or a
You
different
can
way
be
than just
wrong,
on your
actually.
own.
I take back what I just
Uh,
said. You can be wrong. Like,
he's
you
been
know, in the
thinking about
Beatles
it.
documentary, the guy that shows up at John Lennon's house and he's like, oh, these songs are about me. And John Lennon's
Oh,
like, how could they be?
Right.
That guy was wrong.
Sure.
oh, I don't think he's wrong
I
either.
think he's wrong. And I've had friends that have had other stalker type people
Well,
that's
misinterpreting
true.
the idea that
Oy.
everything, all of
Oh.
their creative output is directed at some
Right.
person on the other side of the world
Or
that they don't obviously
have
have
never
any
met. Right.
Yeah.
connection to whatsoever. That can be wrong.
I don't know. Prove it.
Well,
We're
it
going
can,
really
it can be
philosophical.
I
illegal.
know.
I'm like,
We're like
I might need
really
another
meta
coffee
here.
this Monday. I'm like, wow,
Is
this
this
is my
not
head's
usually
like,
where the podcast
Wait,
goes?
when are we gonna
didn't
do the
understand.
mushrooms?
I
didn't
know. I'm
understand.
like, did you bring some for us? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh my gosh. Well, but the reason I
Anything and
pointed to
everything.
Laura was this was like number 3 on her when we were looking for,
Yeah.
oh, what song
Mhm.
do
Oh,
we want
yeah.
to talk
Because we
about?
both have to.
Yeah. And one of
Mhm.
the others was Ribbons, which is not
Mhm.
written by you,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
why
Yeah.
we pivoted.
Isn't that
But
one
who
of the
wrote
best
that?
songs ever
Mhm.
written?
It
Maya
is really
Devitri.
beautiful.
Dimitri.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful.
I don't know her.
I was also talking with Amber
Yeah.
about the very small number of cover songs that we kind of have done over the years, and same with her.
Mhm.
And she said like, "Oh, I don't really do a cover until I feel like I wrote it,"
Mm.
Mm.
That's cool.
which is
In
like
your interpretation of
a
it.
deeper way, I think, of saying like you make it your own. But like,
Yeah.
so we do a Pink Floyd. We do like one of the most famous Pink Floyd songs of
Mhm.
all time, which
Which
is
one?
"Wish You Were Here."
Oh, okay.
Mm.
Okay.
And like when we're playing it, I literally it's embarrassing even to say, but
Mm.
I relate to the lyrics so much at this point that like I feel like I wrote them.
You were John Lennon's stalker.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, not that they wrote them for me. Like it's
Yeah,
worse
no,
than
I know,
that.
I'm
I
teasing.
actually wrote.
Yeah. I don't think
And
you're
so, but
necessarily wrong about that either.
yeah, that's true. You're a real psychedelic kind of a guy, but we,
I'm kind of a guy.
but I have that same feeling with this
Ah.
Maya song. Like
Mm.
the lyrics in it are so wonderful and perfect, and I think capture this thing in life that's so relatable, which is like the feeling of being at. For me, I don't
Mhm.
know. I'll never ask her what she meant.
Mhm.
You guys should.
I
And then I can
know.
listen. I have this all the time where you're at this crossroads in life, and it can be a small thing or a highly consequential thing. You know, you're making a big decision that's going to determine some direction in your
Mhm.
life for that matters. And I have not really been able to find peace with the idea that you never get to know
Mhm.
if you were right or not. You never get to know what it would
Mm.
have been if you took the other decision.
Mhm.
And that's something I've struggled with, and I think her song really, like, sits in that space
Mhm.
and describes it musically and emotionally so beautifully, and
Mhm.
it hits me really hard, and it's, one thing that artists say is, like, "I wish I wrote it," and I go, like, she said it so well that, like, I feel like I did write like, and
Mhm.
it feels like it's from my own mind, which I think is, like, one of the highest achievements probably in songwriting.
It's yeah, that one stopped me in my tracks, like, I was like, "What's happening?"
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, this is speaking to my soul." Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, your other songs do too,
No,
but that
no.
one,
Well, I'm
yeah.
so proud of you for saying that. I will take credit for this idea because I think it's one that goes against every way that we're programmed and that it's really important. I produce a lot of records for other people, and the most uncomfortable part of the job is the A&Ring, and it's the most
Mhm.
important part, because you're talking to somebody about which of their songs you think makes the cut or not.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And because of the culture we've grown up in, we've arrived at this point where the thing that's most likely to happen is you just don't address it and things get bloated.
Mhm.
It's why when you go to a concert and you go to see a band that you love and are willing to give a lot of money and time for, you show up and the opening act is inexplicably playing for 50 minutes.
Mhm.
And like, what a wonderful thing there's an opening act, but does anybody wanna hear more than 20 minutes of it? Like, do they have the capacity to get
Right.
that? Anything that they would get at 50, they could get when they go back to that person's concert. Like, why
Mhm.
are we spending all of this time? And it's from the same place of when an artist walks in and you're making an album, there's an expectation that it's 12 songs in 50 minutes, and
Right.
sometimes only 6 of them are really good, and
Right.
the other 5 but it's we live in a world where I mean, I've done it to artists where I
Yeah.
sit there for 2 years and I say, "Keep writing and we'll do it," and it just doesn't feel good.
Right.
I've long acknowledged and, observed the cognitive dissonance between also an era of popular music that we're all familiar with, where it wasn't as burdened by that. There were all sorts of other bad things in
Mhm.
play, but,
Mhm.
like, there aren't these horrible Frank Sinatra records because he had to write 10 songs to get to My Way,
Right.
and just other people wrote the songs,
Right.
and he sang them.
Yeah.
And I'm very proud of our songwriting. I feel like it's
Yeah.
directed us through our career. At the same time, when I kept finding myself in conversation after conversation, like, let's cut that song. Can we find a different song to record? We got at a certain point through this album, I said, why are we not like, there's clearly 2 songs that need to be filled here that hold down
Sure.
emotional, like, territory that's important, and, like, why are we gonna put the pressure on ourselves to write them? Like, I could point to 2 of them right now, and so we
Mhm.
did that on our album. I also think that it's
It's meaningful that they're written by our friends as well.
Yeah.
it was also important that it was part of our community, and
Mhm.
that I can't think of a better way when I live in a world where every time you get together with somebody you love, they're just worn down at how they have to make a video for the internet every day, and they have
Mm.
to be their own brand ambassador, and they have to be their own producer and business manager and all this
Right.
stuff. And then they get to all of that, and they're sitting there completely demoralized because, in their opinion, the algorithm doesn't
Right.
favor them, and you can't even give them an answer. To me, the only way that that can even be addressed is that everybody's got to self-monitor and start cutting down the content and lifting up the things that all mean something that's close to
Mhm.
us. And so for me, like, when I'm going to take credit of suggesting it in the context of our album
Yeah.
just because it's important to me,
Yeah.
but like that serious suggestion to Joey is literally informed by like years of that frustration and cognitive dissonance, which
Mhm.
of course in the end is so like selfishly benefits us.
Right.
We did on the last two records, we did write the fast Milk Carton Kids song that people sort of expect out of a record. And the last
Mhm.
one was a complete garbage throwaway song that I wrote in an afternoon, and like we've never played online like on stage, doesn't mean anything to me. And instead there's this song that like one of my dear friends wrote that's an all-time great song, and like we get,
Yeah.
we also get the satisfaction of like when we asked his permission, which
Yeah.
funny enough, you don't technically need to ask anybody's permission to cut their song.
Right.
Right.
Is the way our society's drawn it up.
One thing when you were talking, Lindsay and I went to this event called Hollywood in Mind, and it was like advocating and creating mental health spaces for creators and in the entertainment industry. And they had a panel for, well, content creators, but that can also be artists
Mm.
creating, and just how the burnout's real, the algorithm feeling so defeated and trying to like create some mental health resources around that. And
Mm.
hearing you say that, yeah, that feels demoralizing for you all as artists. Yeah.
That, and then if you really can see the truth of it, there's no satisfying answer.
Right.
The only answer for all time was that some people are lucky and some people aren't.
It's
And
so true.
there's and also whatever forces are compelling you to do the thing that you do, they're either going to compel you to do it for all of your waking time and you'll be very fulfilled by it, or you'll sort of get the math wrong and you'll be
Right.
completely victimized by it and
Yeah.
tormented by it. Our story I always find is interesting because we came into the music world at a point where the entire industry was decimated, and
Right.
ironically that was the little like crack that we were
Mhm.
able to fly through and actually created the context to get enough attention that we could thread it into a career.
Right.
But like if we were 8 years earlier,
Who
it
knows?
never would have happened, and if it was 6 years later, it never would have happened. It was just sort of this all stuff so beyond our control, like we have
Right.
nothing to do with, and the only thing that we actually did were we were at the right place at the right time. And if you asked us along the way, we'd be like, we're at the wrong place.
Oh.
Like
It was definitely the wrong place to be at the wrong time, but but like you said, it kind of forced us into, I think, like basically what was an old school mentality, which is like it's because recorded music in 2010 was like not really viable
Right.
yeah.
in any way.
Right.
Um,
And you think like during
Well,
for
Napster came in
right.
and like brought an elephant into the dining room, broke everything, and then Steve Jobs came in and said, "Just get all of this out of." He just
yeah,
gutted it and
Yeah.
said,
it was
"Now we're
nine.
selling everything for 99 cents.
Right.
There's no money anymore."
Yeah.
Well, I
Thanks,
think, and
Steve
it's just
Jobs.
like I think like just if you Google it, like between 2005 and 9 or whatever it was, like
Mhm.
literally the industry, the size of the industry of recorded music went down by like 80 or 85%.
Wow.
Just the amount of money that was being generated by
Mm.
recorded music as an idea
Mhm.
was gone. So anyway,
You
when we
guys are a
started
huge part of that history because in that moment, one of the only places where you could actually like earn
Right.
a
yeah,
livable wage was by connecting with music supervisors
Right.
that would plug it into media that still had a budget and a money. And
Right.
yeah,
we
it's
Yeah.
true.
have, I mean, that was a big ambition of our early career because all of our colleagues, that was the only place they were actually having success.
Right.
I mean, they were selling the 99-cent singles out of the
Sure.
trunk of their car like we were. and going on some tours to formalize it. But
Well, I told Lindsay before you got here
Yeah, I wanted to bring that up. Yeah.
that, I mean, Lindsay and maybe one or two other people are putting my songs in 2005 and 6 into TV shows and indie films is like very literally directly the reason why I'm a musician at all,
Mhm.
because I had quit and signed up to go back to school, graduate school, and classes were starting in a week when I got a song in Veronica Mars and then a indie film the next week, and I was like, "Oh, this is how I can be a singer-songwriter and maybe also pay my rent."
Mhm.
Yeah.
While I'm not, before I figure out my voice and before I'm actually any good, you can be a waiter and or have a job, somewhere which like to, is difficult to have enough time to really like devote to your art. But then I was like, okay, there is a little bit of a viable ecosystem, like you're saying, in like TV show and movies and stuff like that. But by the time 2010 came around and we met, we just figured that the only thing to do was to go play shows.
Mm-hmm.
So we just spent, what, 5, 6 years in a rental car driving around North America, saying yes to everything,
Oh,
opening
wow.
for whoever would have us, booking our own shows in like the smallest, rock club or coffee shop or crepe shop. If you're
Wow.
in
Oh, yeah.
Vermont, if you're in Montpelier,
Montpelier.
Vermont,
Yes.
Oh, amazing.
for like years because and there was no other option, but we were compelled, to do it. And we were so energized by the thing that we had discovered together and felt like it was really, for life affirming and important to do it. And each little show that we played was, gave us enough energy to go on and do the next one.
Mm-hmm.
But so, yeah, if we had been in a different time, if we had been 8 years later, 8 years earlier, like you say, we probably would have made demos and sent them to A&R guys. And if
Mm-hmm.
we had been 10 years later, we probably would have stayed in our house and made TikTok videos instead
Oh
of
my
gotten in a
gosh.
rental car and go
Right.
to the shows because there was no streaming. When we started, there was no labels
Mm-hmm.
and there was no streaming. And
Mm-hmm.
there definitely wasn't social media in a meaningful way like
Right.
there
Right.
has come to be.
By
So
the
Wow.
I don't
way,
know what we would, how we would do it now, but I don't think it would look the same.
Yeah.
well, when I think about that, the only sad thing is that maybe the infrastructure for me and Joey to do meaningful collaboration for 15 years wouldn't exist. On the bright side, I happen to think even without any of that, I would have been writing songs that
Right.
fulfilled my mission and
Right.
expressed myself, and I would have been just as successful on that level than if I had built a career out of it. If I like still spent the time in my mind and in my heart and in my body practicing that,
Right.
You're saying
it
if you wouldn't have found,
a
if you wouldn't have been
career.
able to build a career out of it, you think you would still find
Everything that
fulfillment.
music gives me is available to me at all times, whether or not we
Right.
have a career. The
I
one thing
like to
that's
think
not
that, but I know we both know so many people that make such beautiful art that are also so frustrated by their inability to like have it be their
yeah,
career
yeah.
that it
Right.
is totally
No, I don't mean
demoralizing.
to
Don't you think?
discount that at all. I just mean to say that there's one thing that's not available to you at home doing it, and it's that when you are
Mm.
in a room with a group of people and the things happening, there's an energy exchange that happens that's,
Sure.
Right.
like other events that anybody takes part in where
Right.
people's actual spirits are merging. But the part of music and its healing power and its expressive power, that is such a wonderfully individual thing that I think as we take it out into the world, there's then evidence of how powerful it is because of its connective ability.
Mm-hmm.
But all of that healing, all of that expression, all of that energetic
Mm-hmm.
communion, that's like regardless of streams or ticket sales
Right.
or applause. It
Mhm.
Right.
really, it's such a different thing.
That's
And
true.
and we're humans, so we like people to clap for us. And
Yeah. Well, you must have gotten definitely your 10,000 hours by being on the road, really getting that feedback, what works, and for you two to just really bond together and see like how you work as a team together. That must have just been like super invaluable having that all that time together. Or
It's a
maybe
lot of
not.
time.
What was
And
the
having each other and
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
doing it alone
Yeah, that's
probably made a
true.
difference, I would think. Would you say?
Yeah.
absolutely. I just couldn't have done it without him for sure. Yeah, all of
Likewise.
that.
I mean, I was trying.
Yeah, we were
Who
both
was trying to do it. They've been
What was the
trying to
biggest
do it a
fight
while.
you guys had?
One time I gave him the silent treatment for a week while we were on tour, but
Kenneth,
this will
come
tell you
on.
everything you need to know is that he didn't notice for 4 days
Oh my
that I
God.
wasn't speaking to him. So the end of
Amazing.
that week, we did it, we've
So
had
that
a
made you madder probably that you're like, "You didn't even
Oh,
notice."
yeah, but then when he did notice, then I had his goat, so for the next 3 days, he was
Okay.
mine.
Well, that's what's so interesting. You both were solo artists who decided to join forces.
Mhm.
What was like what made you decide to come together?
Oh, well, that story's fun, and we've told it so many times, but the thing is that the universe hit us over that we were both in complete rhythm trying to do a solo career, and it was, like, going well. Not
Right.
it wasn't there, but, like, whatever both of our individual plans, like, we were along the path and it was
I
going
was
well.
getting songs on One Tree Hill.
Yeah.
I
It
mean,
was
Yeah.
it was
rocking it.
happening. It was happening.
All of those things were incrementally happening, and then we got together one day, and it was just a different
We never
experience
did a
Oh.
solo show
after that.
after that.
Oh,
So it
really?
was
We
like
had sh
magic.
we
You're
had
like,
we
Literally.
this
had
feels
solo
better
shows
than it
booked,
feels.
and then it was like, "Oh, okay, so you'll come to mine and I'll come to yours, and we'll just do them together."
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Which again is another just feels lucky and if my lifetime wasn't described in whole as like a series of small confusing inconveniences, like I that would be the best way to put it. And so to have some other force come in and give you clarity in such a impactful way, that's like one of my luckiest days ever, you know?
Mm.
That's so cool. I love that. Well, let's talk about the Sad Song Camp. How
Oh
did
yeah.
that come about?
Yeah,
And
Sad Song Summer Camp.
tell us all
Yeah.
about it.
That came
Well,
about by accident, I
Again.
will say.
agreed. Like
What?
most things.
Agreed, yeah.
Oh.
Um,
Somebody showed up with
they
the biggest financial offer we'd had in our band's history.
No, that's not
Yeah.
quite true.
And we looked at it and said, we don't want to do that. And then like a
It's
week
true that
later, we were like, maybe we should think about that. And then as it turns out, it's like the best thing that we do every year.
Aw.
We'll go into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
It's just
like,
a thing that's so out of our comfort zone that when we got so the venue emailed us because they do
Okay.
other artist-led camps there.
Oh,
Richard
okay.
Thompson does his camp there, and Steve Earle does his Camp Copperhead there for many, many years.
Oh,
Where
cool.
is this venue again?
It's up in the Catskills. It's
Okay.
called the Full Moon Resort,
Okay.
and it's
it's
this
a wedding
beautiful.
venue.
Yeah, they have
Awesome.
weddings on the weekends, and so during the weeks they do different things, retreats or whatever, and they
Cool.
have these various artist-led camps is one of the things they've gotten into doing. And so you can they have all types of different accommodations around the grounds. You can camp there on like the grassy field by
Mm.
the creek. They have little hotel rooms. They have beautiful cabins, all whatever. So they emailed us like, "Would you ever want to do one of these artist-led camps?" And I didn't even get to the end of the email. I was like, "Oh, this is not something we would ever do."
Mm-mm.
And I didn't even
And
bring it up.
why? Why would it not be?
It's out of our comfort zone, out
Okay.
of
The teaching part?
definitely mine. It seemed like also open-ended,
Mm.
like they don't program a camp for you. They just say, "We have this space. We know how to do the logistics."
Yeah, like we don't know how to teach song.
Yeah,
What are
they're
you
Right.
they don't
asking the
do
wrong
they're not
Okay.
like MC
Got it.
they're not hosting the event. They're providing the space. That's it.
Okay.
And so it was like, would you guys ever want to like create an entire 3-day program and do a camp like Steve Earle does? It's a pretty good number there that they've offered. Like maybe we
Yeah.
should think about it. And then it was one of these things that was just a very quick conversation. And so like once we actually, I think, engaged with it, it was like,
Mhm.
oh, they want us to teach. Okay, well, what are the things that we actually do intentionally? And it's like, well, I think by this point we have a good idea of like what our philosophies are or techniques on songwriting. We have some very intentional approaches toward harmony, singing, and arranging. I was like, we could talk for 45 minutes about that easily.
Mm.
We have these very specific rules, like the stage banter and talking to the audience is a big part of our show and always has been. And we actually have some specific like rules for ourselves on how we do that, almost like improv kind of rules.
Okay.
And so I was like, oh, we could talk about that. And then obviously, and then you bring guest instructors that talk about what they're, so it's as soon as we realized like, well, maybe there could be a framework for the camp where it's like how to be a harmony duo if you wanted to. like
Yeah.
songwriting,
Right.
harmony singing, stage presentations, stuff like that, and then hiring other of our friends to talk about whatever they want to talk about, lyrics, poetry, their like career stuff, anything.
So then
And so we went in with that in mind, and then we hired Joe Pug to be one of the
Oh.
instructors the first year. We thought it was going to be us in the first morning, us just going up and talking for 2 hours, rambling about what we thought, what we like songwriting,
For sure.
basically. And Joe Pug misunderstood and thought that he was doing the first class. And so,
yeah, we got detained at
yeah,
breakfast
we
because there's lots of people like
Sure.
yeah.
wanting
Excited to
your
talk to you,
attention.
And I
yeah.
think I was probably procrastinating, if I'm being honest. Like, oh, God, we got to go into this barn and talk about songwriting for 2 hours. I have no idea what we're going to say. And we walked in there, and Joe Pug was at the front of the classroom with a whiteboard telling everyone, get your journals and pencils out. You're all going to write a song in the next 3 hours. And we were like, oh, all right, this is happening. Cool. And Joe Pug led them through like kind of a songwritery excerpt, like a prompt driven, like songwriter exercise to be like, everyone's writing a song. I don't care if
Yeah.
you've written a song before. I don't care if you think of yourself as a songwriter. Everyone's writing a song. And it turns out the people that had come to our camp were for the most part, songwriters.
Yeah.
And the ones who weren't wrote their first song of their life.
Wow.
And they performed it at the end of the third night, often in harmony with other people that they had, we did our harmony thing and we talked about songwriting over the course of a couple days. But kind of it became this thing where the purpose is not actually for us to talk about songwriting. The purpose is it's more of like a space that we hold for people to come and have a little bit of a songwriting retreat. And it's punctuated by these quote unquote master classes that we and our guest instructors do. But it's become this just beautiful celebration of sad songs with so many tears and like lifelong friends
Aw.
made. And at the end of each night, people perform their songs. And by the end, they've made bands or little
Wow.
duos, and we play with them and we're helping them with their songs. And our favorite thing to do sometimes is like little song doctoring where, it's like, oh, actually, that's your chorus. And that's, this is, you got 5 verses, you only need 2. And, Kenneth is in there with his chord changes and his lyric changes. And, we
Coming,
love
taking
doing
that
that.
class.
I
I think
know.
you need 2 additional campers this summer.
We
on.
do. We do. It's
We can tell them
it's so
things
much
for
fun.
sad songs in TV and film.
Yeah, I mean, and the
Yeah.
co-branding
Literally. Come on.
partnership, by the
Yeah.
way,
Well,
from
'cause
Sad Song Queens have to be at Sad Song Summer Camp.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
hello.
Well, the reason why it should happen and that I hope that it does is I was going to cut Joey off because to me the conclusion to that story, which is a great story, is actually that by the time it's like a concert, by the time we felt the confidence that we could show up and give whatever is important to us, you arrive there and then you realize it has nothing to do with you and it's
Yeah.
not about you.
That's
and
true.
and the act of the concert has to do about an exchange and about a communion. And that's what happened there is we finally figure, okay, how can we walk into this room and confidently take a lot of money out? Like it's not a inexpensive thing. Also, we give like generous scholarships. So if you can't afford the thing and you want to go, like literally go on the website, answer a
Yeah.
few questions about why you want to come, and like chances are we'll be able to
Yeah.
cut you, like give you
There's a lot
tuition
of
for free.
the whole thing's a nonprofit, so there's
Oh, wow.
donors that give, and we cultivate relationships with donors to make sure that there's scholarship funds to
And
that
what are the
can
dates
help.
again?
Still at the same, I think this year, July 22 to 24, the end of
Okay.
July this year. All that said, it was really important to us that when we walk in the room, like we felt prepared to give people their money's worth
Yeah.
because it's a lot more than a concert ticket or whatever.
Mhm.
And then what happened is the same thing that happens at concerts is you show up and you're not there for any of the reasons that you think you
Right.
are. And as Joey just described, it's the best concert that we attend every year because you've gotten to know people that are
Yeah.
doing a thing. It's a space where people are becoming uncommonly vulnerable over the course of 36 hours. And like, if you don't understand that that's the thing that makes songs, like that's the lubricant in the engine of songwriting, is just emotional vulnerability.
Yeah.
Your masterclass lesson is there to be had. The minute you do that, you understand all the secrets of songwriting. It's
I
one
think
of the
that's
things.
true in our genre. I don't think it's true in all genre, emotional vulnerability.
I think the songs that
Well,
stick
when
with
it's
you.
sad songs.
Yeah.
Sad
maybe.
songs, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, how did you guys land on sad songs?
Yeah.
Oh, Joey was obsessed with that as a brand that would
You're our
somehow
people,
encapsulate
Joey.
the Milk
Yeah.
Carton
Yeah.
Kids.
But why? I mean, did you
We
feel
that
that was
came
already your strength? Like that was like your comfort zone?
I guess
Well,
if I to say something meaningful about it other than just being tongue in cheek, I think we've struggled a little bit with the idea, like, for example, our first album we put out in earnest is called Prologue, and the first song on that is called Michigan.
Mhm.
It's still our most popular song. It's a 5.5 minute sad song.
It was one
And
of my contenders.
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
and everyone's favorite songs of ours are long, slow, fast, sad songs.
Mhm.
And every time we ever put out an album, anyone we were ever working with, including when we've ever been on late night television, or if anyone was ever choosing a single for radio or anything, it's always like you can't go to radio or on TV with a 5.5 minute ballad. And it's very sad, I think, and frustrating because, like, that's what we want to do.
Right.
That's why everyone who's there for us is there. And not just us, but so many other artists and like people that we relate to and play with and everything. And like, that's kind of what we're in it for.
Yeah.
But like, if we have anything mid tempo or God forbid up tempo, like that's the thing that they're going to want to put like, not, they don't want to put it on the radio, but anyone that we're working with thinks that that has to be the one that we try to put on the radio or play on TV because it's shorter and faster and whatever. And
Hmm.
so eventually, what came around the pandemic, and we were doing these like variety shows at Largo
Mhm.
that then we took online,
Mhm.
and we really wanted. I liked the idea of finally admitting that this is what we want to do. We want
Embracing
to do
that
the
you
sad
guys are
songs.
sad song
Yeah,
kings.
embracing
right?
it. Yeah.
it is our
Yeah.
superpower.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
other one, like,
And again, not just us, like, so many other of our friends and
Yeah.
everything.
we've also, because, well, we've been lucky this way too. We've participated in some bigger cultural things like in our little world. And every single time it happens, like if we go sit in with friends at a concert, it's going to be with Sarah Bareilles at the Hollywood Bowl, and she's got her 8-piece band. And we don't make sense unless it's just me and Joey and Sarah on one microphone.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, for 20,000 people that listen to a
Yeah.
90-minute show of something they love and something that's providing energy, of course, the thing that stands out is when in the middle of it, it goes down to this tiny thing that feels like the
Mhm.
special moment. And like, that's where we've always been applied because of our natural skill set. And like Joey just acknowledged, that seems to be the things that people. I'm surprised he hasn't brought it out now, but I'll cue him up for it. Joey has a theory that no songs are sad, and I think
Oh,
he's
yeah.
right. And it's a
Oh.
beautiful idea, but
But you have a sad song summer camp.
well,
yeah.
but
Okay.
So
I
many
think-
misnomers happening
Yeah,
right
I know.
now.
I'm like, wait.
well, I
Yeah.
think what we're all talking about is this thing, the thing that draws you closer and the thing that gets you, closest to that emotional center
Mhm.
is the thing that will make us emotional, will make us cry, will make us,
Mhm.
and that's what the sad song concept holds.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Joey
We want
thinks
the
they're all
sad
inherently
songs.
hopeful and life
Yeah.
affirming.
Yeah.
That's good.
Everyone.
Well, I
Well,
do.
because they're cathartic, right?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's why we like them?
Yeah, I think that's why the word sad is actually like a pretty boring word by itself, right? But sad song, just like everybody knows what that means, right? And it's alliteration, so it's easy. But in all our discussions, it's why. Is it emotional? Is it sad because it's so hopeful? We find that
Mhm.
often those songs make us cry a lot, right?
Or like the altruism, like when someone's kind, that always gets me,
Yeah.
like, and that's really beautiful, right? And that isn't necessarily sad, but it
Yeah.
sparks just feelings, like, yeah, emotions, right?
Mhm.
And then there are other times where it is like we do hear a song and it's so lyric focused and seems to be talking about death and loss that like that is the sad part of it. But maybe the chords actually aren't that sad and
Mhm.
right? But this is why there's a podcast about it. We can talk
Yeah.
about all the different versions
Yeah.
of it. But it's easy to put it in this box of sad song to
Yeah.
introduce it,
It's like for a while everyone wanted to ask us what Americana was, or
yeah.
now like what is it to be folk music or
Yeah.
whatever. Sad songs is like a pretty good shorthand that I think people just kind of know what it means.
And
But
sometimes it just means slow to people, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the slow song.
slow, emotional. But yeah, I do think like even those songs about death, dying, or something emotionally weighty,
Mhm.
I do like to say that even those are not sad songs because taking a sad or tragic or painful thing and turning it into art is so inherently hopeful and
Mm.
life-giving that, yeah, the song itself is not sad.
Well, let me ask,
Yeah.
do songs make you cry?
Definitely.
Then
Okay.
All the time.
then you're just choosing the word emotional over sad.
Right.
Okay,
But it
thank you.
doesn't it's
Sorry.
the alliteration that we're after, isn't it?
Yes, but I'm just, to me,
Oh, yeah.
songs are sad if they make you cry.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
think.
I almost
I
I
understand.
I am not a in general, I think I've noticed, I don't
Sad
cry at
crier.
sad things. Yeah, I cry at
Oh,
happy
okay.
things.
Okay.
Okay.
I cry when the main character achieves a lifelong held goal.
But you don't cry when the main character's parent or child dies?
No.
Yeah, this is the
Check this guy for a heart. No, just kidding.
this is the sociopath I've been saddled with for 17
I
years.
can't help it.
No, that's, I mean, there are, yeah, some people don't do
Do
that.
you
Dad
cry?
dying of cancer makes a video for his unborn child because he
Oh.
knows he's not going to make it to the birth.
Yeah, that
Mm.
would make me
Yeah.
cry
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, maybe I
When-
would
when
cry
you-
at
Okay,
that.
Joey has
Yeah.
a heart.
When your
Phew.
dog dies or something.
I guess
Just
true now I've been a parent for long enough that some of the sad stuff around parenting
Parenting,
can get
totally.
Yeah.
me. That's
That's
true.
why I like the child parent either direction.
I cried at the end of that movie Beasts of the Southern Wild.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Spoiler alert.
spoiler.
I mean, it's been out for a while.
Yes, I know, yeah.
It's like 15 years.
I'm like, I think.
Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I also cry at Rudy, the movie, the
Oh,
sports
Oh,
movie.
totally.
Yeah, because it's
Yeah.
hopeful. Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah.
achieves his long-held dream. That's really
Rudy
what
is
gets me.
such an underrated gem of a movie. It is so good. It
My
has
college
everything.
roommate, we owned like 3 video VHSs, and hers was Rudy. Then we had When Harry Met Sally, and I had Tommy Boy. That was
That's
just
a
the 3
good-
movies on repeat.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
You got all the emotions.
That's right.
The conversation makes me think of it. It is funny what you point out about Joey. It hasn't happened on this song, but even at a record store thing we did last week, young person came up to us to thank us for Michigan, which was a song that Joey wrote. I guess I've been giving him all these songs since then to make up for that one. Joey primarily wrote that song. This young person came up to us and told us how the story in that song matched the last few years of their experience in a way that, I mean, there was palpable emotion while we were being told the story, and you could tell how, I mean, well, it's very much the point of this podcast. She asked, like, what was the song written for? And before Joey could ruin the moment, I looked at her and I said, well, it was written for you. Because literally what the story that we had just heard was departing Michigan to get out of a few situations that couldn't be helped, about all of the emotional, like what that emotional weather system must have looked like for a young person leaving their entire childhood. And so in that sense, it was absolutely written for that person. And I think that kind of circles back to what we talked about at the beginning of this, which is that I know the reasons why Joey wrote that song. It would not have made for a nice moment. Not like a nice moment, but it would have taken away.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like in this sense,
Well,
I
but the
felt
way
like
you
the
just- the
song
way
was
you-
written for them.
The way you just said it, without saying what my particular situation was with specificity, is exactly what she was going through, which is the song, at the time, I wrote the song for me to process something, move through something, and get away from something. And that's exactly what it helped them do 15 years later or whatever. And so you're exactly right. That's why it was that's why all sad songs are written, is both usually, I think, for the person who's writing it to move through something, and then we have this desire to share it and connect, because it says to people, like, you're not alone, basically. We're connected in these struggles.
Yeah, and that kind of tied into what you about your camp is connection is such a huge part of it, and community, and going to this mental health summit, like that's a big answer to a lot of people's problems, is to connect with others and be part of community. And I know I found that. So, and music's such a and even as music supervisors, music is a way to use do that even when you're working on a project. You want to start a movie, you want like if people know the song, like boom, they're in with you.
Mm,
But then also like if you have a big moment between two characters and you have an original song or a song that hasn't been associated with the
mm,
movie before, like it can be that much more meaningful to the moment because it can really be owned by, you know,
mm.
the characters or the film. And, well, tell us some of your favorite sad songs.
I've been thinking about that during this conversation, and I think I have the answer, but
Oh,
I've also been coming up empty.
well, I, s- I've talked about her twice already, but whenever somebody asks me this question, our dear friend Amber Rubarth comes to mind because she has a song that I have been hearing for 20 years,
Mhm.
and I have still never once heard her perform it live without crying.
Mm.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Her
Yes.
crying or you crying?
Me crying.
And what is the
It's
name?
called I Like You a Lot.
Okay.
And it's hopeful? Would other
No.
people think it's sad?
It's not.
Okay.
I guess not. It's not hopeful.
Okay.
It's one of these things that it's like Maya's song in that I think it really captures and investigates and deeply like pokes in and around the crevices of a very relatable like situation that we all find ourselves in with
Mhm.
regard to a romantic relationship.
Mhm.
It's a very unsettling part of a romantic relationship where there's some unevenness in
Mhm.
the relationship and some miscommunication and some really deep, profound desire and longing that is probably clearly not going to be met, but is like
Mhm.
still
Mhm.
so strong. And just the way that she has written all in and around that feeling, it just puts me in that place and it makes me feel that emotion as though I'm there. Like Joe Henry is one of our mentors, the great
Mhm.
songwriter
Mhm.
and artist and producer. And his quote about songwriting is maybe one of my favorite quotes about songwriting, where he says, I don't want to be told what it was like. I want to be fooled into thinking that I was there.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
great.
And
that's
so
cool.
that's kind of what her song, Amber's song, achieves for me, where it's like, God, I feel like I am in this horrible part of a
Mm.
relationship, which, I've been married 20 years almost. I haven't been in that place for a long time, but every time she plays this goddamn song for 3.5 minutes, I'm like there
Mm.
emotionally.
Yeah.
And I cry about it every
Mm.
time.
Well, I thought of John Prine Hello in there,
Mm,
Mhm.
and that the reason because literally there's endless of them, but that
Mhm.
was in '01 or '02 at the beginning of college.
Mhm.
That was the first time I ever, I guess, figured out that you could pull in like public radio. There was like public radio on the internet,
Oh, yeah.
and so all of a
Mhm.
sudden you could download. I think it was at University of Michigan or something had. Uh, it's the KCRW of the Midwest, and
Mhm.
Right.
KCRW didn't really fit my aesthetic desires. Some programs did, but
Mhm.
there was one program that I won't remember the name of it that I started streaming regularly late at
Mhm.
night, and it was. I have to assume this still happens to people. My great love with music is that it's always made me feel like the center of the universe and that the universe is so big. It's why I love going to concerts, and when somebody like unfortunately we don't do it well sometimes we do, but when you go to a concert and they set the lights just right beforehand and the house music is curated and then they slowly dim them and you feel like the thing's starting at a Milk Carton Kids show. It's all the wrong music. The lights are blaring. We can't be bothered. Anyway, it's those experiences in life that like
You're really selling that live show.
yeah, come to a show.
Man,
Come
I
to one of
cannot
ours. The Brain
wait.
Experience. Man.
I've tried everything to get this going at the Milk Carton Kids, short of me standing by the light dimmers. But maybe
So funny.
this little complaint will finally kick it into gear. That's what it felt like in '01 also, when I remember exactly where I was and what the feeling was
Mhm.
when, and it wasn't from John Prine studio record. It was a live version that they had chosen, and this
Mhm.
song came on, and the recording's horrible, and you can hear the ground hum, and it's just there's no reason that it should have been delivered to me through the like formal things we all agree on.
Right.
But of course, it was delivered to me, and it was one of those ones that's probably among a list of a dozen now in my life where it was like being struck by lightning and your life changes because you just never heard anything like that.
Right.
And that song is life changed to me, and also just fundamentally sad in the way that it captures, John's plea to have some compassion for the people that we don't see in this lifetime. What a masterstroke of writing to encapsulate that call to action. So that's what I chose, but then also to call back to, I think just how we played at the beginning of the conversation. I also wouldn't put any of these even toe to toe with just a program of Chopin nocturnes.
Oh, good one.
You don't need
Yeah.
you don't need any words.
No,
That
you
stuff
don't. Yeah.
that you learned there, that even the great words of John Prine, that can get in the way of the music's ability to take us to places in our body.
Well, we
and
all know you're
spirit.
not a big lyric guy, so.
Yeah.
Chopin's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I get another one? Because there's
Of
another
course.
song.
No, of
There's
course.
another song that I
Yeah.
cry at every time, 100% of the time, and I mentioned him, which is Joe Henry, but his song called "Our Song."
Yeah.
Oh.
The recording, any live performance, anything, I cry at it 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Love that.
And
that
what
one's
what is
unbelievable.
sad about it?
Well, the entire conceit of the song is that he walks into a Home Depot in Arizona and sees Willie Mays.
Yeah, the first song
testing-
is I saw Willie Mays at a Scottsdale Home Depot.
Okay.
And if you don't start crying at that, you do not have a soul.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, and then from that scene, he also, like John, writes just a story that makes you confront the entire history of America
Okay.
and what we put on our people, what we
Right.
put on all of our shoulders. But the way
Oh,
that
boy.
he puts it in 4 minutes is like unlike anybody else.
Some good ones for us to listen to.
Yeah.
This has been very fun. I think we must go, actually.
I
hate
know,
to be
I
rude
know,
about
that's
it.
why I'm like, wait.
Let
We could do a
tomorrow.
part 2.
I love
That's
that
a
book.
huge
Oh,
one.
that's a
that
great
one.
That's
book,
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
now we will let you go.
Yeah.
And thank you. Sorry, we took
No,
up
no.
so much time. Thank you for joining us today on the Sad Song Queens podcast, because you always need a good cry. We will link these songs in our show page as well as our Spotify playlist, so be sure to check them out. Please also like, comment, and subscribe wherever you find podcasts. And shout out if you can do it on our YouTube page. Huge thanks to Kenneth Pattengale and Joey Ryan of the Milk Carton Kids, our friends at Sax & Co., Adrian Harper, BMG Rights Management, Jacqueline Legato, Teamwork Management, Nick Palmacci, and Sydney Collette Jabarpour.
Special production thanks to Stephanie Gangle, Avery Piantadozzi, Jessica Griffin, Jordan Lindsley, and our producer, May Rogers. Thank you to the Songwriting School of Los Angeles and Rob Seals for letting us record live in their studio today. Our theme song is All My Favorite Songs by Weezer, and our outro music is by Wyatt Rouse.